Hello again, fellow homesteaders. We are now going to learn how to preserve eggs in mineral oil. This is easy, this is quick, and you can't get much cheaper. This is mineral oil I put in a coffee cup. It takes about 1 tablespoon to do a dozen to 18 eggs. Mineral oil is cheap, so I would not skimp on it. You want as much as possible to make sure the eggs are thoroughly coated. So there's no real way that you can use too much mineral oil. Oh, sorry, my hands are a little damp. It smells and feels like Easter in here. I have eggs out, and I just had to disinfect my counters with vinegar. I sloshed a little bit of the raw egg going in the dehydrator from the last video on my counters and didn't see it till I moved the dehydrator. Or perhaps that caused it, I do not know. But anyway, smell of vinegar is a little bit overwhelming at the moment. So you're going to take your egg. This mineral oil has been heated in the microwave for about 10 seconds. Not everybody heats the mineral oil first. It seems to make it help seep in all the little portions of the egg better if you heat it. Some people believe. I've not had really seen any difference in preservation, longevity, or quality of taste of the egg either way, but if it helps a little more, I went ahead and do it. In the microwave for about 10 seconds, on the stove for 2, maybe 3 minutes. And some people wear gloves because the mineral oil it's not going to be hot, it's just going to be slightly warm. I don't find it warm enough to really need gloves. And you have on gloves, the latex doctor gloves, which I don't think I'd like those because that stuff might come up on the eggs if they're powdered. But you can actually just have on maybe like clean dishwashing gloves, I guess, and put some mineral oil in the gloved hand and roll the egg around it. But I like to go ahead and just put it in the coffee cup. And then, as you can see here, the egg kind of floats a little bit. Can't see the mineral oil, clear oil in a white cup. No other oil is recommended to do this. I use lots of different carrier oils in my home remedies and cleaning, coconut oil, almond oil, argan oil, olive oil, but none of those are supposed to be able to coat or anything other than those ones that even be safe to have on your food. Preserving eggs in mineral oil has been around for hundreds of years, or 100 years as long as the mineral oil has been. Don't know who figured it out or why they figured it out, but anyway, it works. Going to get the egg out and hold on to it carefully because it will be nice and slimy, as you can probably see from this in my hands. It glistens. There are 2 different schools of thought on what you do next. Some people insist that you need to put it back into a container, whatever container type you're using. Should be one with compartments, not a basket. Big side up, the bottom, or the top side down, or top side up. That kind of depends on your preference and what has worked for you. Putting it in pointing side down, and the big side, the bottom up, is how I learned to do it and how it's always worked for me. So you just gently put it back down in the hole, and then you can move on to the next egg. Now these are store-bought eggs, as I mentioned in the other video if you've already watched it. Trying to preserve store-bought eggs in mineral oil just really isn't going to work. This is just what I had on hand because all mine are being incubated. And that they don't really work because eggs have been sterilized with water and bleach and whatever else before they come to your grocery store and make it to you. That washes off the bloom. When you're a homesteader and you collect your eggs, hopefully you are not washing off the bloom, which means you might be storing eggs with some chicken poo and mud on them. It's probably not a probably, it's, I would say, definitely a given. But when you wash all that off before you're ready to eat them, you are washing away the bloom. And the bloom is what protects the egg from bacteria getting inside, and it regulates the exchange of oxygen. And when you wash away the bloom, more bacteria can get inside. That's why eggs that you buy commercially have such a short shelf life and have to be refrigerated. There's no need to refrigerate farm fresh eggs as long as you store them in a cool, dry place. Your basement, your garage, your root cellar, something like that. So, if you want to know how old the egg is, if your chickens and ducks don't lay in the same places they're supposed to all the time, which mine don't, you can go ahead and do the sink or float trick that you're doing to see if an egg might be viable to still hatch or safe to eat. Put it in water on the stove and in a pot, and if it sinks, then it's fine. It's completely fresh. Enjoy it. If it floats to the top and breaks the surface, it's not viable anymore. Now, if you get one that floats about halfway up, it doesn't break the surface, it's not necessarily fresh, but still safe to eat and safe to, safe to preserve. You do not want to have a rotten egg, especially if you're pickling them, to have one rotten egg in the bunch where they're all kind of intermingling together. You can also candle them and to see if, it's too far along to, it's one that should be fertilized and has been sit on enough where a chick is starting to develop, or a duckling, or to make sure that it's viable and not rotten by the way the yolk looks, and all those types of things candling can tell you. That's not a bad idea either. But if you're collecting eggs every day, you should have a pretty good idea, except for the occasional errant egg, that if you have free rangers, who knows where they're going to leave one. Now, about once a month, you're going to rotate these eggs, regardless of how you put them in the carton. You're going to pick them up. And they're still going to be slick and slimy. That oil is going to coat it really well. It's not like it's going to dry in a day or a week or 3 weeks. If it does, then you're going to have more of a problem if it gets bone dry. You want to pick it up and rotate it. That's the way. I'm not sure the way you put it in to begin with is all that important. That's just the way I learned, so that's how I did it. You do that so that yolk doesn't settle. And you just do that, once a month. It depends on how you store it and how fresh the egg was and how much you are worried about whatever government guidelines. Typically, people who preserve eggs in this manner say they last from 6 months to a year when preserved fresh and coated thickly enough and stored and rotated like that with the eggs up and down properly. I've not ever kept one as long as a year. I think 6 or 7 months is the longest I've ever kept and used one. I've not had a problem. We keep them in our garage, which stays nice and cool, or sometimes in the butcher shop, which also stays nice and cool. So how you store them, as with everything that you can or preserve in any method, is going to make a huge difference, not only how long it lasts or the quality of taste, but whether or not it's still safe to eat.